Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
This has been shaping the headlines for the last 2 years. It is how long are we going to be dealing with the COVID-19 situation? This reminds me of a popular meme that has been circulating of one of the actors blinking his eye and suddenly shaking his head, and then the time has gone by. And it is that we literally felt there was the start of 2021. It's going to be a long year, but little do we know it. We're now almost halfway through the 9th month. We're preparing for the new year's of 2022, and COVID is still here. And because of that, the World Health Organization, which held a press conference recently, said COVID-19 is likely to be here, and it is here to stay with us.
That's right. And global health officials were citing that the virus would continue to mutate in unvaccinated countries across the world. So whatever previous hopes of eradicating it have now diminished. According to Dr. Mike Ryan, executive director of the WHO's Health Emergencies Program, he said, "I think this virus is here to stay with us, and it will evolve like influenza pandemic viruses. It will become one of the other viruses that affect us." And I remember those early days when COVID first emerged, and everybody had this pipe dream that, hey, once the vaccine's out, we're going to go back to normalcy. This whole thing will be over. Yet we're still here just a couple years later. So interesting to see how things had progressed. And I think what the scientists are saying is, yeah, it's a pipe dream. We're probably not going to eradicate the virus, but that doesn't mean that the death and illness and social isolation that we're experiencing in many parts around the world will continue on the scales seen so far. So, I mean, I'm just thinking about the future and seeing what type of immunity we acquire through those vaccines and previous infections. And hopefully the virus doesn't mutate and things get too bad. But yeah, it's certainly something kind of hard to swallow, the idea that this thing may never disappear. And in a few years, we might still be talking about booster shots and such.
Yeah, and this is where it gets very tricky, doesn't it? Now, we're also seeing the famous Mu variant emerge, and now the WHO has labeled it as a variant of interest. It has been reported in at least 40 countries and every US state except Nebraska. And the top US infectious disease doctor, who's also been to an extent, a local celebrity, household name now, Dr. Anthony Fauci, said the newest variant is not an immediate threat. And he said that we're certainly aware of the new variants, but we're keeping a very close eye on it. It is believed that it emerged in Colombia, and it was in January. And we are seeing that it is being observed, that the database so far says there are about 2,300 cases of the Mu variant in the United States. So now that they've put it as a variant of high interest, a variant of concern, there's going to be a lot more of a focus on that, and there's going to be a lot of pinpointing towards this Mu variant, just like how we did with the Delta variant.
That's right, and the concern here is that the vaccines that we have taken now may not be effective against it. In fact, that's what a report from England's Public Health Agency said last month. So there's a bit of a worry there as well, but they also said that some more real-world data is needed. So it's something that currently is of interest, doesn't seem to be circulating beyond Latin America at the moment.
For the time being, we shall continue and shift our focus now towards the Emirate of Sharjah and look at the big developments here, especially when it comes to the Sharjah Narrators Forum that is going to be kicking off at some point soon in September. We'll also discuss what the ruler of Sharjah has approved when it comes to the gas network situation. Later on in the program, we'll also discuss how TikTok has earned more viewing time than YouTube. TikTok tends to be a lot more popular. I thought YouTube would continue to dominate because of Ryan's Toys and Choo Choo TV and Baby Shark, but apparently it's the world of TikTok. Our toddlers also are ready to dance in front of the cameras and produce some content. We never know. that could be the future. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll continue the discussions, and we'll also throw in a Thursday trivia question to you as well. So do stay tuned to the Morning Majlis, because that question is going to be coming up next.
Pulse 95.
Between local lines, notes from the Emirate.
Notes from the Emirate, indeed. We are going to be talking about the gas network and connection, because His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, member of the Supreme Council and ruler of Sharjah, has approved the connection of the natural gas network to Al Bataeh and Shanouf suburbs for a cost of 78,490,000 dirhams. That's according to the Sharjah Electricity, Water and Gas Authority.
Indeed, and the chairman of the Electricity, Water and Gas Authority, Saeed Sultan Al Suwaidi, thanked the ruler of Sharjah for His Highness's commitment to providing the best services to all regions of the Emirate of Sharjah. Al Suwaidi said the project entails extending the natural gas pipeline to Al Bataeh area in 6 phases at a cost of 21.89 million dirhams, with a total coverage of more than 200 kilometers.
Yeah, the natural gas network will be extended across 640 kilometers in the Shanouf suburb, and it is Sharjah's largest residential suburb, which consists of about 28 areas, and it is all going to be at a cost of 65,600,000 dirhams, and it will be in different stages. He pointed out that since the beginning of this year, 147 Emiratis of various specialities have been employed to carry out the vision and directions of His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, member of the Supreme Council and ruler of Sharjah.
Yeah, it's very much in line with the ruler's directives to emphasize the importance of employing citizens, to qualify the national workforce and train them to assume responsibility as well. So great to see that Emiratis have been employed to carry out the vision of His Highness the ruler of Sharjah, and also great to see that utility projects continue to thrive across the Emirate of Sharjah to cover all the suburbs and cities and districts across the Emirate as well.
Wonderful initiatives as well, because recently, I think it was the beginning of last week, that we saw there was a directive from His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, member of the Supreme Council and ruler of Sharjah, on employing the children of the retirees to provide a livelihood and an income, a stable income for the household. So wonderful new initiatives for the improvement and well-being of the society. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We've got lots of stories to catch up on, especially when it comes to the Emirate of Sharjah and the developments in the Emirate. So stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll be right back after a short interval.
Pulse 95.
Between local lines, notes from the Emirate.
His Highness Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed bin Sultan Al Qasimi, the Deputy Ruler of Sharjah and Chairman of the Sharjah Media Council, attended a meeting yesterday for the launch of the Environmental Films Initiative at the Sharjah Broadcasting Authority. Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed Al Qasimi praised the environmental richness of Sharjah, represented in its natural reserves, its eco-touristic projects, and areas of ecological and biological diversity as well. He also lauded the unlimited efforts of His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, the Supreme Council member and ruler of Sharjah, in preserving Sharjah's environment by launching environmental initiatives and tourism projects that contribute to preserving the nature of this city.
Yeah, and the Deputy Ruler of Sharjah was briefed on the initiative. There was a visual presentation that was presented at our offices, in fact, the Sharjah Broadcasting Authority's headquarters. The initiative will be implemented in cooperation with the Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, as well as Sharjah Police General Command, the Sharjah Environment and Protected Areas, Sharjah Government Bureau, and in partnership with several international institutions. conditions. The initiative is a filmmaking project for Sharjah Safari Project and Sir Bonaire Island to document all the environmental details in order to preserve the natural life of these sites. The big thing is going to be the Al Barti Reserve in Bataeh. This is going to be the game changer when it comes to tourism in the Emirate of Sharjah.
Absolutely. That's where the Sharjah Safari Project is in Bataeh. That's going to take visitors on an exciting experience into wildlife. It's the first and largest safari outside of Africa. So this is very, very exciting project here in the Emirate of Sharjah. And another environmental project that they discussed is the Sir Bonaire Island. It's one of the main marine reserves in the UAE and the Arabian Gulf. It's got many environmental elements like natural plants and seabirds and those rare turtles as well.
It's amazing to see the amount of effort Sharjah as an emirate is now putting towards the environmental conservation. We do have a dedicated Environment and Protected Areas Authority under the leadership of Her Excellency Hana Saifa Suwaidi, the chairperson for that entity, especially when it comes to newer destinations and new areas such as the Kalba Mangrove Centre, which opened last year, in fact, and it's been quite a popular spot for a lot of people to check out the services that are on offer, as well as learn a little bit more about conservation. And yesterday was a very important meeting that took place here in our offices, and this launch of this initiative was in fact attended by His Excellency Major General Saifa Zarriya Shamsi, the Commander-in-Chief of Sharjah Police, Her Excellency Hana Saifa Suwaidi, the Chairperson of the Environment and Protected Areas Authority, Mohammed Hassan Khalaf, the Director General of the Sharjah Broadcasting Authority and Media Corporation, His Excellency Tariq Saeed Alai, the General Director of Sharjah Government Media Bureau, as well as Hassan Yaqub Al-Mansouri, the Secretary General of the Sharjah Media Council. Stay with us in the morning Majlis. Up next, we have a topical discussion. TikTok has overtaken YouTube in terms of the most viewed platform. What's going on? All of this will be discussed right here on the morning Majlis.
Social Media Minute. Today's clickbait worth talking about.
Social Media Minute.
Yeah, you may choose to agree to disagree, but apparently, according to recent stats and analysis, TikTok has overtaken YouTube in terms of people spending more time watching content. Do you agree with that or do you disagree? Text us on 4215.
Yeah, this is what they're saying right now is that the time spent per user for TikTok viewers is higher than that of YouTube. Absolutely incredible. Now, this is per user. But if you take account all users combined, the number for YouTube is, of course, higher because YouTube has more users and has had a longer presence. But still, absolutely incredible stuff and very interesting because it really shows where we're heading in terms of our social media habits. Another factor that, according to reports, is sort of a major thing is the live streaming aspect of TikTok. Because, YouTube's had a foray into live streaming, but when you talk about live streams, people generally lean more towards TikTok for that. For some reason, it hasn't picked off as much on YouTube. But yeah, there's just something so engaging about going on the TikTok app and seeing those short, bite-sized videos recommended to you one after the other. And it's just, you could go through a dark hole there and not come out anytime soon.
It's crazy in terms of the variety of content you can get. Now, my take on this is this is a stat that's been released by a Google-owned. Well, YouTube is Google-owned, but this is a report that's come out from a study that is looking at Android phones only. So now, Android phones have predominantly been popular in places such as India and this part of the world, as opposed to Europe or even Gulf region in particular, where iPhones do tend to be very popular and it's most used platform. So you never know in terms of how to assess this report at this stage. But what I can see and probably assume is in TikTok, people aren't given the option of choosing what content you want to watch unless you physically go to a person's account.
Yeah.
So you keep swiping, hoping for a Wheel of Fortune style of whatever pops up, and you're entertained by it. No, move on. In YouTube, even though they have the YouTube Shorts, but on YouTube you physically type in and subscribe to people that you want to follow. So that's just where the big difference lies.
Absolutely. And as soon as you click the TikTok app, a video instantly starts playing, and it just starts going and going and going. And the algorithm is pretty nifty as well. It really knows you very, very well.
Yeah.
And it just has a way of pulling you in. And the other thing too, I think, is the ease of use, the barrier to entry. You know, just going on TikTok, starting an account, creating a video. It feels easy and it feels effortless, and it feels like there are people who actually watch your stuff. When I make something on YouTube, I feel like it'll take a long time before views start to pick up if I'm not established. But if I'm on TikTok, the algorithm might promote me for some time now as a new user, and I'll get a surge of views coming in. I don't know if you had the same experience.
I did. I definitely did. I think when I first started TikTok, I got thousands of views, and I thought, oh, this is the platform. This is the main thing. And then suddenly the views diminished down to 100 and 200. But then certain things would pick up, but it just seemed very different. But I think it's also reduced our attention span. We do want those short, quick videos.
We absolutely do. There's just something about getting the information in like less than 15 seconds, and TikTok is really good at that. And people have also picked up on it as well. And even in the informative videos, they'll be dancing and they'll have a bit text caption in the center just telling you something about a war or some piece of information or trivia. So it's also pretty interesting how people are getting really creative with the constraints as well. But yeah, I feel like TikTok is definitely the place, at least for younger people. That's the app. That's like the go-to app. You just click it and you start watching right away.
Yeah, and you get hooked onto it. Everyone wants to become a TikToker, and everyone has their own theory of saying, oh, I'm very popular on TikTok and this is what I do. And the funny thing about TikTok is that you don't have to come up with you have to be creative, yes, but you don't have to come up with a high production value idea. You don't have to come up with amazing edits. You just have to act silly, lip sync, chill, do whatever you want, and then it becomes the big thing. Now, what I also admire is the growth of TikTok, because it started off as Vines and then moved on to ByteDance or Musically, and then it became this TikTok, and it's incredible in terms of how popular it has gone.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see how long this will take. It doesn't feel like a fad. You know, when Vine came about, that didn't last for long. You had Twitter, for instance, attempt live streaming with Periscope. That died out pretty quickly, but it looks like there's a real need for this bite-sized format, so much so that they're emulating it on Instagram, on YouTube, to varying degrees of success. So the format is there to stay, and people just want to be seen.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone wants their content to be out there so that people can sort of relate and talk to them about it, of course. So very interesting to see where this is going to take us, to be honest. But for the time being, all we can do is wait and see what's going on with this. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll be right back after some more musical entertainment, and we'll continue the discussions from there on. You're listening to the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.